Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, if you may recall, during early August of 2017, I blogged Disney's Enchanted from 2007, and to this very day, I consider it a well-done movie that parodies and praises classic Disney films. Also, it had several great characters like Giselle, Edward, Pip, Nancy, Morgan, and Nathaniel, an underrated and threatening villain, a fantastic soundtrack by Alan Menken and Steven Schwartz, as well as clever Disney references and cameos, one of which I've met 2 years ago, as well as breathtaking cinematography in New York City and beautiful animation for Andalasia. Plus, some folks believe that Enchanted was a sneak peek of The Princess and the Frog, which was released 2 years later, which I kinda agree. Plus, during my Enchanted blog, I mentioned that a sequel was being developed, and of course, it's the subject of my blog today. Released to Disney Plus on November 18th, 2022, the movie is Disenchanted. And now, on for the plot of the movie. It has been 10 years since Giselle and Robert got married, but Giselle has grown very delusioned with life in the city, so they moved their growing family to the sleepy suburban community of Monroeville in search of a more fairy tale life. Unfortunately, it isn't the quick fix that Giselle had hoped for. Suburbia has a new set of rules and a local queen bee in the form of Malvina Monroe, who makes Giselle feel more out of place than ever. Frustrated that her happily ever after hasn't been so easy to find, she turns to the magic of Andalasia for help, accidentally transforming the entire town into a real-life fairy tale and placing her family's future happiness in jeopardy. Now, Giselle is in a race against time to reverse the spell and determine what happily ever after truly means to her and her family. So, what are my thoughts? Well, in my opinion, it was very twisted, magical, thrilling, and nostalgic. And I think the past 15 years were definitely worth the wait. And in order to explain why I love this movie, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, firstly, this is the second sequel to a theatrical Disney film released primarily on Disney+, the first being Hocus Pocus 2. In February 2010, Variety reported that Walt Disney Pictures planned to film a sequel to Enchanted with Barry Josephson and Barry Sonnenfeld producing again. By July 2014, Disney had hired screenwriters J. David Stem and David N. Weiss to write a script for the sequel, and in October 2016, The Hollywood Reporter announced that Adam Shankman, who previously directed 2007's Hairspray and 2012's Rock of Ages, entered negotiations to direct the sequel. Principal photography was previously expected to start on May 3rd, 2021 in Los Angeles, California. However, the movie would partly be filmed in Enniskerry, Ireland, where a set was being constructed as of May 1st, 2021, while other expected locations include Wicklow and Dublin. Filming officially began in Ireland on May 17th, 2021, and concluded on July 22nd, 2021. By March 28, 2022, reshoots were underway in Buckinghamshire, England, due to a mixed reception at a test screening. Reshoots also took place in New York City, having concluded in April. On December 3rd, 2021, it was announced that Canadian animation studio Tonic DNA was working on the animation for the sequel, and the visual effects were provided by Moving Picture Company, or MPC for short. Now, in my personal opinion, The town of Monroeville seems like a nice suburban place to live, and I think the Phillips' new house looks very, very beautiful. And I really love how magical and imaginary the town gets when it becomes Monrolasia. Plus, during the beginning of the movie, I thought the story felt pretty relatable due to the Phillips trying to adjust to living in a small town, especially since I have until this coming Saturday to get ready for my move to my first apartment. But later, it becomes pretty twisted, kind of like Cinderella 3 and WandaVision, and I thought the final climax felt equally as intense as the final climax in the Equestria Girls Friendship Games movie. Also, like with the first movie, I really love the hand-drawn animation sequences in this film, and this would have to be the very first time we would ever see animation like this since Mary Poppins Returns, and that was about 4 years ago. Plus, I think parts of the animation pays a very sweet homage to the legendary Mark Davis's style. And now, let's talk about the movie's music and songs. The songs for the movie were once again put together by the beloved team of Alan Menken and Steven Schwartz, who previously worked on the songs for Pocahontas and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I'll never forget the time when I saw Alan Menken in concert at the Segerstrom Concert Hall back in late September 2016. Also, in case you're wondering, I'm deeply hyped for his upcoming collaboration with Lin-Manuel Miranda in the upcoming Little Mermaid remake next May. Anyway, for now, I'd like to talk about 4 of these new songs. The first song to talk about is Even More Enchanted, sung by Giselle while she's trying to cheer up Morgan once they move into their new home in Monroeville. To me, this song is very sweet, and it kind of feels reminiscent to the Happy Working song from the first movie, and it really makes me want to smile due to the message of making the best out of a new life. Plus, the song gets a very sweet reprise at the end of the movie. Next is The Magic of Andalasia, sung by King Edward and Queen Nancy, while presenting Giselle and her family with an Andalasian wishing wand as a belated birthday present for their daughter, Sophia. To me, not only does this feel like a beautiful birthday song, but it also makes a wonderful anthem for Andalasia. Also, I like that during the song, Edward and Nancy explain the wand's rules. Next we come to one of my favorite songs in the movie, Fairytale Life, sung by Giselle. Now there are 2 versions sung throughout the movie. The first being the Wish version, where Giselle describes how life in Andalasia was for her and how things in Monroeville don't seem to go her way. And the second version being the After the Spell version, where Giselle's wish comes true. In my opinion, the second version would have to be my favorite, due to it referencing the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia, Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast, and With a Smile and a Song from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Also, I really love the dance choreography. Finally, we come to the villain song, Batter, performed by both Giselle and Malvina Monroe. This song presents a battle of the fairy tale villain cliches by having a wicked stepmother challenging an evil queen. In my opinion, this song is very epic, and it almost reminds me of Vor's villain song, Get Wicked, from Sophia the First. Also, I like how it mentions past villains like Maleficent and Cruella de Vil. So, now that we got Mustang notes and songs out of the way, let's move on to the cast. Our main character, Giselle, is once again played by Amy Adams, whom was in Night at the Museum 2, the 2007 Underdog movie, and the 2011 Muppets movie. And of course, Amy serves as one of the movie's producers. Now, as most of you know, Giselle became one of my top 11 other Disney princesses back in 2015. And during this movie, I find Giselle to be similar but a bit different from the first movie due to her being a mother and having a family to take care of. But I still like that she's still sweet, loving, friendly, and optimistic. Also, I thought the part where Giselle was shown as a foundling taken in by forest animals as a baby did give her some nice character development. However, after making a wish upon the Andalasian wishing wand for a fairy tale life, not only does her new village of Monroeville become a fairy tale village called Monrelasia, but her wish slowly transforms her into a wicked stepmother, which to me makes Giselle a mix of Lady Tremaine from Cinderella 3, Mother Gothel from Tangled, and Scarlet Witch from the Doctor Strange sequel. Throughout the day, both her princess and wicked personalities fight for dominance until the latter wins and decides to fight and overthrow Malvina to become queen of Monrelasia. Next is her husband, Robert Phillip, played by Patrick Dempsey, whom was in Freedom Riders, the 2010 Valentine's Day movie, Brother Bear 2, and the third Bayformers movie. In this film, after moving to Monroeville, Robert has to commute to continue his job as a lawyer. But later, after Giselle's fairy tale wish, Robert believes that he is a brave adventurer. But is he a good one? I wouldn't go that far, due to him being terrible and klutzy at wielding a sword, battling dragons, and trying to slay giants. But on the other hand, I'm glad that Robert was able to rescue a little girl and reunite her with her family. Also, during the end of the movie, Robert has moved his practice to Monroeville. Next we have Giselle's stepdaughter, Morgan, played by Gabriella Baldacchino. In my opinion, Morgan is kind of similar to how her dad used to be in the first movie, due to her being a teenager and she's grown out of fairy tales. Plus, there's the fact that Morgan's not very happy about moving from New York City to Monroeville, and she feels like an outcast at her new school, which to me makes her very understandable and relatable. But after Giselle's wish for a fairy tale life, Morgan becomes a wide-eyed, dreaming fairy tale maiden, which to me makes her like a mix of Cinderella and Belle. Upon seeing Giselle fight with her good and wicked sides, Giselle sends Morgan to Andalasia via the magic wishing well in their backyard in hopes to get help. And in my opinion, the part where Morgan becomes animated really made me smile, due to me hoping for many years that she'd someday visit that magical world. Also, believe it or not, I managed to make a drawing of her on Azalea dolls a few years ago. Plus, like Tiana and other Disney princesses afterwards, I like that Morgan plays a very brave and heroic role in this movie by using her memory tree to save Giselle. Also to mention, I think Morgan's Perfect Song is a very sweet song to listen to, and I like how it references songs like Belle's song from Beauty and the Beast and Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. Next we have Giselle's chipmunk friend, Pip, voiced this time by Griffin Newman. Pip serves as the movie's narrator, telling the story to his two children for bedtime. And in my opinion, Pip is still a loyal, cocky, and funny chipmunk. During the movie, Pip visits Giselle when she feels conflicted about her life not being as idyllic as she had hoped. When Giselle makes a wish to have a fairy tale life in Monroeville, Pip regains his ability to speak, which to me is very nice and all. However, as the spell transforms Giselle into a wicked stepmother, Pip likewise becomes her villainous right-hand cat. And to me, while that was pretty twisted, I liked when Pip shows his sneakiness when he's assigned to retrieve the Andalasian wishing wand back from Malvina's assistants, Rosaline and Ruby. Next we come to the rulers of Andalasia, King Edward and Queen Nancy, played by James Marsden and Idina Menzel. While they don't really appear too much in the movie, I like that they visit Giselle in Monroeville to give her the Andalasian wishing wand, and I thought it was really sweet that they declared baby Sophia as their goddaughter. Later, when Morgan visits Andalasia, Nancy and Edward learn that Giselle's wish has caused a vortex to suck everything magical from Andalasia to Monroeville until there's nothing left. To me, between the two, I think Nancy sticks out the most due to her helping Morgan save Giselle, while Edward stays behind to hold down the fort. Also, I think Idina Menzel's song, Love Power, is absolutely wonderful to listen to, and I think it makes a very worthy answer to Carrie Underwood's Ever Ever After song. Plus, I really love the song's message that love and memories are the most powerful things in the world. Our next character is Giselle and Robert's baby daughter, baby Sophia, played by twins Mila and Laura Jackson. In my opinion, despite not having as much of an important role, I think Sophia is such an adorable and beautiful child, and I think it's pretty obvious that she's a reference to Princess Sophia from Sophia the First. Also to note, later in the movie, when Giselle's evil side takes over her, she assigns 3 gardening fairies to babysit Sophia while she plots to overthrow Malvina. Next up is Tyson Monroe, played by Colton Stewart, whom was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 and the recent Sneakerella. This character is the son of Malvina, which to me makes him kind of like Edward from the first movie, due to him being a villain's son. Plus, he's been prince of the Monroe Fest 3 times prior. In my eyes, Tyson seems like a kind and dashing young man, and he seems like a perfect love interest for Morgan. Also, I thought the scene where Tyson and Morgan meet in the town square kind of mirrors Prince Christopher from the 1997 version of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, as well as Prince Kid from the 2015 live-action Cinderella movie. Also, I liked the part where Tyson and Robert team up together to jam the clock tower gears in order to prevent it from striking midnight. Oh, fun fact. Originally, Tyson was going to have a love duet with Morgan titled Something Different This Year, which would have showcased Colton Stewart's rapping skills. Fortunately, while it was cut from the movie, it does appear on the movie's soundtrack album as a demo. Finally, we come to Tyson's mom and the movie's main villain, Malvina Monroe, played by Maya Rudolph, whom was in The Willoughbys, Shrek the Third, DreamWorks Turbo, the Nutjob movies, Disney's Big Hero 6, George Lucas's Strange Magic, Sony's The Emoji Movie, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Pixar's Luca. Malvina is the local queen bee and realtor of Monroeville, who becomes a wicked and envious magical queen after Giselle wishes to live a fairy tale life. In my eyes, unlike Queen Nerissa from the first movie, whom was selfish, cruel, and power-hungry, and Susan Sarandon knew how to have fun with her evilness, Malvina is pretty snooty, and she can be pretty laughable at times. But at the same time, Malvina is not 100% evil, nor is she threatening or scary. However, during the movie, when Malvina realizes that Giselle has a magic wand, she sends her 2 assistants, Rosaline and Ruby, to steal it. But thankfully, because she's not a true daughter of Andalasia, Malvina can't use it. So, as a backup plan, Malvina decides to hold a battle with Giselle at midnight in order to decide who will be the real villain of the town. Also, not only is Queen Malvina similar to Snow White's evil stepmother, Queen Grimhilda, but I also find it pretty interesting that she has a cabinet with several items from other fairy tales, including a drink me bottle from Wonderland. However, at the end of the movie, after Giselle and Malvina make amends, I like that Malvina allows Giselle to join her council, which I thought was very sweet. Other actors in the movie include Yvette Nicole Brown, Jayma Mays, Oscar Nunes, James Monroe Eagleheart, Rachel Covey, and Disney's good luck charm, Alan Tudyk. And now, on to my final words. Overall, Disenchanted is a wonderful Disney Plus sequel. It has great cinematography, outstanding visuals, beautiful hand-drawn animation, nostalgic moments, memorable characters, old and new, fantastic acting, wonderful new Disney songs, and amazing choreography. Plus, not only is the story very relatable and twisted, but I also love how it mainly focuses on the bond between a mother and a daughter, even if they're not related by blood. And I also love how the film describes that love and memories are the most powerful things in the world. Plus, I thought the new villain, while not 100% evil, was pretty humorous. And I think Morgan was a very heroic character, and I think she deserves to join the ranks of Disney's other Disney princesses. So, if you folks were fans of Enchanted, you'll definitely want to gather your family together and tune into Disney Plus to watch it. And I really do pray that it gets a Blu-ray release in the future. Anyway, I give this movie a 92% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for my next blog, where we take a magical art lesson at Royal Prep. Mustang Power.